Imagine if every morning you woke up knowing exactly what mattered most. The single action that, if done well, would make everything else easier or even unnecessary. Imagine if that clarity made you unstoppable. That's what Gary Keller discovered, the life-changing power of the one thing. In this video, we'll dive deep into the core ideas of the book, explore its stories, lessons, and science, and see how this one simple principle can transform your work, your focus, and your life. Chapter 1. The One Thing. Gary Keller begins with a story from City Slickers, where a cowboy tells a city man, "The secret of life is one thing." That idea, focus, defines success. Keller learned this when his growing real estate company began to fail. A coach advised him to focus on finding 14 key leaders. So, Keller stepped down as CEO and made that his only goal. Within 3 years, the company grew 40% annually. He realized success comes from doing the right thing, not more things. This insight led to the idea of going small, narrowing your focus to what truly matters. Success isn't about doing everything at once, but doing one thing at a time, sequentially. High achievers concentrate their energy where it counts most. Going small isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most so you can achieve more. Chapter 2. The Domino Effect. Keller illustrates success with the domino effect. One small action creating massive results. In 2009, 4.4 million dominoes were toppled by a single push, showing how momentum multiplies effort. Physicist Lauren Whitehead proved that one domino can knock over another 50% larger, meaning focused actions can grow exponentially. Success works the same way. Each achievement builds on the previous one. Focus on the first, most important domino, your one thing, and the rest will follow. Success is sequential, not simultaneous. Each small, deliberate action sets the stage for the next. In real life, priorities aren't lined up for us. We must identify them daily, knock down the first one, and let momentum carry us forward. Chapter 3. Success Leaves Clues. Keller argues that success always follows focus. Every great business or person succeeds because of one defining product, passion, or skill. KFC had one recipe, Google had search, Apple had one standout product at a time. Bill Gates had one passion, computers, leading to one skill, one partnership, and one opportunity that launched Microsoft. The same pattern repeats everywhere. Walt Disney had Roy Disney, Oprah had her mentors, and the Beatles had George Martin. No one succeeds alone. One key relationship often makes the difference. Keller also notes that passion and skill fuel each other. Passion drives practice, skill amplifies results, and together they build mastery. Ultimately, the one thing isn't just a business principle, but a universal truth. Success comes from finding your singular focus and committing to it until mastery follows. Part 1. The Lies. They mislead and derail us. Gary Keller begins Part 1 by introducing 6 major lies that most people believe about success. Lies that seem logical, but actually sabotage productivity and focus. These are the myths that keep us busy instead of effective, scattered instead of centered, and stressed instead of successful. Keller calls them the 6 lies between you and success. The foundation, truthiness, and the danger of believing lies. Keller opens with a humorous but powerful idea, the concept of truthiness, coined by comedian Stephen Colbert. Truthiness describes something that feels true, even when it isn't. In the world of success, most people act on truthy beliefs that sound right, but lead them in the wrong direction. Over time, these half-truths become mental defaults, easy to believe, but devastating to follow. Keller warns that to live an extraordinary life, you first have to identify and eliminate these lies. He compares them to myths like frogs boiling slowly in water or fish rotting from the head down. Stories that people repeat because they sound reasonable, even though they're false. Similarly, we repeat success myths like, "I just need to work harder," or "I could do everything if I manage my time right." These aren't just wrong. They're the reason people never reach their potential. Line number 1. Everything matters equally. We're taught to believe that everything on our to-do list is equally important. But Keller dismantles this idea completely. Not all tasks are created equal. In fact, only a few truly matter. He draws on Pareto's principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. This isn't just a statistic, it's a way to see the world. He encourages replacing the to-do list with a success list, a list intentionally built around the few tasks that drive extraordinary outcomes. Most people are busy but not productive because they treat all tasks as equal. High achievers think differently. They constantly ask, what matters most right now? And organize their time around those few high-impact actions. Keller also emphasizes the idea of going extreme with Pareto. Instead of stopping at 80/20ths, he suggests narrowing further. Identify the top 20% of your top 20% until you reach the single most powerful action. That's your one thing. The point isn't to do everything, but to do the right thing first and let the rest fall away. Line number 2, multitasking. We often glorify multitasking as a productivity superpower. In reality, it's one of the biggest lies of modern work. Keller cites research from Stanford showing that heavy multitaskers perform worse in every measurable category: focus, accuracy, and memory. When we multitask, we're not doing two things at once. We're just switching attention rapidly between them, wasting energy and time. Keller calls this the switching cost. Every time your focus shifts, your brain burns energy and loses momentum. The result is more errors, more stress, and less meaningful progress. The human brain is designed to focus on one thing deeply, not juggle several at once. As the old saying goes, to do two things at once is to do neither. Instead, Keller promotes single tasking, dedicating full attention to the one thing that matters most at the moment. When you go all in, you enter a state of flow where creativity and performance peak. True productivity, he says, comes not from dividing attention, but from directing it. Line number 3, a disciplined life. Many people think success demands constant discipline, an unending grind of willpower and self-control. Keller flips this belief on its head. Discipline, he argues, isn't the key to success. Habits are. Discipline is just the spark that ignites habit formation. Once something becomes a habit, it requires little to no effort to maintain. He explains that successful people are more disciplined. They're just more strategic about where they use discipline. They apply it in short bursts to establish powerful habits that run automatically afterward. For example, creating a habit of time blocking your most important work doesn't require constant discipline, only the initial decision to commit. In essence, you don't need to live a disciplined life. You need to live a habit-driven life. Build habits that support your goals, and success becomes a matter of consistency rather than willpower. Line number 4, willpower is always on will call. We often assume that willpower is an unlimited resource we can summon anytime. Keller shows it's not. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day as you make decisions, resist temptations, and handle stress. That's why you feel mentally exhausted by evening, even if you've done little physical work. He calls this the limited resource problem. To perform at your best, schedule your most important work, your one thing, during times when your willpower is strongest, usually early in the day. Protect your focus by managing your energy, not just your time. Avoid draining your willpower on trivial tasks or constant decision-making. The takeaway: don't rely on motivation. Structure your day to use your best energy where it counts most. Line number 5, a balanced life. The idea of a perfectly balanced life is appealing, but false. Keller argues that balance is not sustainable or even desirable. Extraordinary success often requires periods of intentional imbalance, where you devote extra time and energy to one priority at the expense of others. Balance is about counterbalancing. You can't give everything equal attention, but you can shift focus intentionally. When at work, be fully at work. When with family, be fully present there. The key is awareness, knowing what deserves your attention now and returning to other areas later. Instead of chasing constant equilibrium, live with purpose and adjust as needed. Line number 6, big is bad. Finally, Keller tackles the fear of thinking big. Society often tells us to play it safe, to set realistic goals. But Keller argues that small thinking is the real danger. Big thinking inspires creativity, stretches your limits, and opens doors that small goals never could. The phrase, big is bad, kills ambition before it starts. He urges readers to think big, act small, dream boldly, but focus daily on your one thing. Big goals force you to look for better solutions and take smarter risks. Thinking big isn't arrogance, it's courage. Part 2. The Truth, the Simple Path to Productivity. After dismantling the 6 big lies that cloud our judgment, Gary Keller shifts focus toward the undeniable truth behind all extraordinary results: simplicity of focus. Success isn't about doing everything. It's about identifying what truly matters and giving it your best attention. This section reveals the mindset and methods that lead to clarity, purpose, and lasting productivity. Keller explains that most people's energy gets scattered because they chase multiple goals, constantly reacting to the demands of the day. The truly successful, however, build their lives around one principle: finding the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. To help you discover that, Keller offers a question so powerful and transformative that it can reshape how you think, plan, and act every single day. Chapter 10. The Focusing Question, the Heart of Extraordinary Results. At the center of Keller's philosophy lies one deceptively simple question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This single question acts like a compass for your life and work. It's simple, yet profound. It forces clarity and prioritization. Keller writes that most people drown in the noise of small, meaningless tasks because they never stop to ask which single action actually moves the needle. He breaks the focusing question into 2 essential levels. The big picture question. This sets your direction. What's the one thing I want to accomplish in my career? Or what's the one thing I want my life to stand for? This version helps define your purpose and long-term vision. The small focus question. This determines immediate action. What's the one thing I can do right now? This version anchors your present choices in your larger goals. By consistently asking both versions, you align your big dreams with small, specific actions. Keller compares it to laying bricks. Each small, well-placed brick eventually forms a fortress of success. He also encourages applying the focusing question in every area of life: your career, relationships, health, finances, and spiritual growth. For instance, what's the one thing I can do for my relationships such that everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Might lead you to prioritize communication or quality time. Asking it daily turns this question into a habit of intentional living. Over time, your brain begins to think in terms of leverage and impact rather than busyness. Keller concludes this chapter by saying the focusing question isn't just about doing the right thing. It's about creating momentum. When you focus on the right action, it triggers a domino effect of success. Chapter 11. The Success Habit, making the focusing question a way of life. Once you understand the power of the focusing question, Keller urges you to turn it into a habit. Extraordinary results don't come from a single act of focus. They come from repeatedly choosing focus every day. Repetition transforms clarity into instinct. He compares focus to the act of aiming an arrow. Without it, you might shoot wildly and miss the target altogether. With consistent focus, every arrow moves closer to the bullseye. The focusing question is that steady aim. Keller illustrates how asking better questions leads to better answers. Successful people are more talented. They simply train their minds to seek clarity. Instead of asking, "How can I do everything?" they ask, "What matters most?" This mental shift simplifies complex decisions and helps cut through overwhelm. Over time, the focusing question builds internal momentum. Like compound interest, small, deliberate actions accumulate. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and suddenly, your focus has transformed your reality. Keller calls this the compounding power of focus, where progress multiplies because every action builds upon the last. He emphasizes that success isn't accidental, it's habitual. By conditioning your brain to always ask the focusing question, you build a pattern of purposeful decision-making that becomes second nature. Eventually, the question becomes your automatic response to every challenge and opportunity. Chapter 12. The Path to Great Answers. Thinking Big, Starting Small. This chapter explores the difference between average results and extraordinary ones, the quality of your answers. To find better answers, Keller says, you must ask bigger questions. Don't settle for the first easy solution. Push your mind to think expansively. He teaches a formula for great answers. 1. Ask a great question. 2. Search for a great answer. 3. Take great action. Big questions expand what's possible, while small, specific actions make big goals attainable. Keller calls this finding the intersection of big thinking and specific doing. For example, instead of asking, how can I earn a bit more money? Ask, what's the one thing I can do to double my income this year? This question forces you to think strategically and creatively, identifying leverage points that small goals never reveal. Keller also stresses the importance of specificity. Vague goals like, I want to get healthier, lack direction, while specific goals like, I'll run 3 times a week before breakfast create actionable clarity. Great answers come when big thinking meets specific commitment. In closing, Keller reiterates that the focusing question and great answers together form the foundation of extraordinary productivity. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards focused, thoughtful, and strategic effort. Part 3. Extraordinary Results. Living with Purpose, Priority, and Productivity. In Part 3, Keller expands from personal focus to life alignment. True success isn't just about achieving results. It's about creating a life that feels purposeful and balanced. Extraordinary results emerge when your purpose, why you do it, your priority, what matters most, and your productivity, how you act, all work together in harmony. Chapter 13. Live with Purpose, the Foundation of Fulfillment. Purpose gives meaning to every action. It's your North Star, the ultimate reason behind what you do. Keller explains that people without purpose tend to drift, working hard but feeling unfulfilled. Those with purpose, however, move through life with confidence and resilience. He notes that purpose isn't discovered in one grand moment. It's refined over time through reflection, trial, and clarity. Keller advises reflecting on what gives you joy and meaning. Ask, what's the one thing I want my life to stand for? The clearer your answer, the more energy you'll have to pursue it. He compares purpose to a compass. It doesn't tell you every turn, but it always points in the right direction. Once you know your why, decision-making becomes easier. You stop chasing distractions because you know what fits your path. Chapter 14. Live by Priority. The bridge between purpose and productivity. If purpose is your compass, priority is your roadmap. It's how purpose turns into action. Keller defines priority as identifying what matters most right now to serve your ultimate goal. He reintroduces the focusing question as the daily tool to align purpose with productivity. Each day, ask, what's the one thing I can do today for my purpose such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This keeps you grounded in what truly matters. Keller also emphasizes the method of time blocking. Time blocking means dedicating a specific, uninterrupted window each day to work on your one thing. It's non-negotiable, a sacred appointment with your future. During that block, you protect your focus from distractions, emails, and interruptions. He warns that every yes you give to something insignificant is a no to something vital. Extraordinary success requires saying no often, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Chapter 15. Live for Productivity. Make your one thing happen. Chapter 15 emphasizes the critical role of productive action in achieving extraordinary results. It illustrates that productivity is not about being busy, but about doing the right things in the right way, especially when the outcomes matter most. The chapter centers on the concept of time blocking and how it transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. 1. Connect the dots between purpose and productivity. Productivity begins with clarity. When your daily actions align with your ultimate goals, each step compounds toward extraordinary outcomes. Doing more isn't the answer. Doing what matters most is. 2. Time block your one thing. Schedule large blocks of uninterrupted time for your most important work. Work on your one thing early in the day when energy and focus are highest. Experts like Stephen King and Paul Graham demonstrate that multi-hour time blocks maximize creativity and output. 3. Time block your planning and time off. Regular planning ensures alignment with long-term goals. Schedule downtime to recharge. Rest improves overall productivity and prevents burnout. 4. Protect your time blocks. Guard your focus fiercely. Avoid interruptions, create a work bunker, and eliminate distractions. Use strategies like the focusing question to stay on track. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Accountability to yourself and your time is key. Others may not prioritize your goals, so it's your responsibility to protect them. Chapter 16. The 3 Commitments. Achieving Extraordinary Results. Summary. Chapter 16 focuses on 3 essential commitments that make time blocking and focus truly effective for achieving extraordinary results. 1. Follow the path of mastery. Mastery isn't a destination, but a journey. It's about consistently improving your skills and knowledge in your one thing. True mastery requires deliberate practice, patience, and persistent effort over years, just like elite performers who accumulate thousands of hours to excel. The more time you invest in your one thing, the more momentum and growth you create for future goals. 2. Move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Most people start with natural abilities and enthusiasm, but extraordinary results require a purposeful approach, This means seeking better methods, models, and systems to consistently achieve higher quality outcomes. Moving from E to P ensures you break through performance plateaus and maximize the effectiveness of your efforts. 3. Live the accountability cycle. Ownership of your actions is critical. Accountable individuals face reality, take responsibility for outcomes, and constantly seek solutions. Accountability can be enhanced with mentors, coaches, or accountability partners who provide feedback, track progress, and challenge you to stay on course. Those who embrace accountability achieve results far beyond those who remain passive or blame external circumstances. Chapter 17. Protecting your productivity, the 4 Thieves. Even when you find your focus, distractions are relentless. Keller identifies 4 thieves that rob productivity. 1. The inability to say no. Every yes costs time, energy, and focus. Learn to say no with grace and conviction. 2. Fear of chaos. Success creates disorder. When you focus on one big goal, other areas may temporarily fall out of balance. Accept it as part of progress. 3. Poor health habits. Your physical energy fuels mental performance. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise aren't luxuries. They're productivity tools. 4. An unsupportive environment. Surround yourself with people, systems, and spaces that encourage focus. Your environment must reinforce your goals, not compete with them. Keller stresses that protecting your focus is a lifelong discipline. Mastering your energy, your boundaries, and your environment ensures long-term momentum. Chapter 18. The Journey, Living the One Thing. In the final chapter, Keller reminds readers that success isn't a destination. It's an ongoing journey of focus and purpose. Living the one thing means waking up each day committed to doing what truly matters and letting go of everything else. He writes that the happiest and most successful people aren't those who do the most, but those who do the right things consistently. When purpose, priority, and productivity are aligned, life feels not only more successful, but more peaceful. Keller closes with a timeless truth. Extraordinary results are not built in a day. They're built daily. Success compounds from simple, focused actions repeated over time. The question isn't how much you can do, but whether you're doing the one thing that truly counts. Start today. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Do that one thing. Then do the next one. That's how success begins, not with doing more, but by doing what matters most. The one thing isn't just a productivity tool. It's a philosophy for living a meaningful, focused, and fulfilled life. Because when you give your best energy to what matters most, you don't just achieve success. You live it.